Hey everyone, and welcome to another weekly wisdom. My name is Natalia Eileen. I lead Scene at Work, and I'm excited to be back for another less than 10 minutes video about tips and tricks related to diversity, equity, and inclusion. So this video is all about Pride Month, looking forward to June when we celebrate and uplift the LGBTQ plus community. And specifically, I want to dig into an element of how we might be able to celebrate Pride Month within our organizations that sometimes goes unnoticed. I want to make sure that we're taking a moment to talk about 5 ways we can support LGBTQ plus owned businesses and communities as we are celebrating Pride Month next month. Right now, as I'm filming this, it is the end of May. And many of us are looking forward to engaging in different Pride Month activities with our organizations and colleagues. However, we want to make sure that as we do this, we're thinking very authentically about how we actually support and spend time supporting our LGBTQ plus owned businesses and communities. So in order to do this, I want to make sure that we dig into 5 ways we can do that kind of real-time support. So let's start with the first way. We could consider ordering our catering services for an event from an LGBTQ plus owned restaurant. Now, as you're doing a bunch of Pride Month activities, it's very possible that you'll find opportunities to order food for your in-person events. When you're ordering that food, consider looking for restaurants that are LGBTQ plus owned. Now, of course, this is something that we should be thinking about all throughout the year, making sure that we are bringing in and spending money at restaurants that are owned by a wide variety of people and people from diverse backgrounds on a multitude of identity dimensions. When you're thinking about Pride Month, consider ordering your catering services from a restaurant owned by an LGBTQ plus owner. Now, that's just number one. We're moving on to number 2 and talking specifically about how we can support the LGBTQ plus community as we think about moving forward with Pride Month. So what else can you do? You can also consider purchasing Pride Month merchandise from small LGBTQ plus owned businesses and artists. So if you are in the market for some merchandise, you're looking for swag for your organization, or maybe your ERG is looking for swag, they're probably already thinking about this. Definitely, if no one's talking about it, bring it up. Consider working with LGBTQ plus small businesses to offer these kinds of merchandise and art to your employees and to your colleagues. So that's number 2. Number 3, we're moving on to gathering your team to volunteer at a time to volunteer your time at a local LGBTQ plus community center or nonprofit. This one is one that I hear people talk about all the time, really thinking about already, but maybe you haven't thought about it yet. So I wanted to make sure it was on this list. Maybe you're doing some really fun activities with your employees on site in your office, but consider going out into the community. There are so many amazing nonprofits serving the LGBTQ plus community. And we know that many youth especially could really, really appreciate your support. So let's consider looking into some of the opportunities for you to engage fully within the community through these nonprofit organizations and community centers. So that was number 3. Let's move on to number 4. And number 4 is hosting an expo or marketplace in an accessible place for feature where you feature local LGBTQ plus owned businesses. This is something that I've seen done with a variety of community-based businesses. So this could look like doing it specifically for the LGBTQ plus owned businesses. It could look like a variety of historically marginalized community representation, specifically bringing in maybe Black owned businesses, thinking about bringing in Hispanic, Latinx owned businesses, things of the sort. In this case, as we look forward to Pride, I really want to spotlight this as an opportunity to make sure that your company and your colleagues, your employees are aware of some of the great work LGBTQ plus owners are doing in your area, and to get them more business so that we're really, really bolstering and supporting the community. So that is, again, hosting an expo or marketplace in an accessible place that features local LGBTQ plus owned businesses. Let's move on to number 5. Maybe you have a matching program already. If you do, great. If you don't, consider creating one just for this occasion of Pride Month, where we start a donation matching program, features local organizations and mutual aid funds. Consider giving your employees a match if they end up contributing to one of these organizations. And of course, this is something that you can do to support any community that is historically marginalized. We want to make sure that as we look forward to Pride Month, we're thinking really strategically about how we're not just splashing rainbows everywhere, but also really digging in and supporting the local community, the LGBTQ plus community. So let's go back and go through those 5 one more time. And as we do, if there's anything you haven't ticked off just yet for Pride Month, consider doing so. And of course, these are tips that hopefully you don't just do during Pride Month. These are things that you can do for the LGBTQ plus community across the year. These are also things that you can consider doing with several other communities in your backyard, in your local area. So consider these 5 once again. I'm going to start from the very beginning for you. The first thing you can do is order catering services for any event from an LGBTQ plus owned restaurant. Next, you can purchase Pride Month merchandise from small LGBTQ plus owned businesses and artists. You can also consider gathering as a team to volunteer your time at a local LGBTQ community center or nonprofit. And you can also do a really cool marketplace expo where all of your employees begin to understand a little bit more what opportunities are out there to spend their money with LGBTQ plus owned businesses. And lastly, you can also start donation matching programs that feature local organizations and mutual funds. Again, as we prepare for the exciting time that is June, where many organizations lean into supporting the LGBTQ plus community, we want to make sure we're backing up any of the fun that we engage in, which hopefully there is tons of fun and joy in your Pride Month celebrations. We want to back all of that up with some hardcore support for the community, and much of that support can be done in dollars. So with that, those were your 5 ways you can support the LGBTQ plus community as we look forward to Pride. I do want to make sure that you're aware that if you ever wanted to work with us, you're welcome to. You can sign up for a consultation at cnetworks.com/consultation. You can also follow us on several social media platforms. We've got a lot going on for you here. Here you go. We're on Twitter, we're on Instagram, we're on YouTube, we're on LinkedIn, and we also have a newsletter that I highly encourage you to sign up for, because that's where I send personal messages to you, encouraging you to continue on this journey related to diversity, equity, and inclusion within your organization. And with that, we're 2 minutes shy of our 10-minute mark. So I'm going to leave you to it. It was lovely seeing you again. And I'll see you next Wednesday at 9 a.m. Eastern for another weekly wisdom. Thanks, everyone.